If you're like most people, you've probably tried to use willpower to motivate yourself towards some action by pushing your way through and trying to just keep on going, even though it's difficult and can be hard to get yourself up for it. So I want to introduce you to a different way of thinking about motivation, one that I think is more efficient and beneficial for you, and one that's not breaking you down and leaving you tired. Because I think using willpower to motivate yourself is, at least on a long term and for most people, not so good a strategy for finding motivation. And this little talk here actually doesn't start with the word willpower or motivation. It actually starts with the two words love and fear. And I believe that every action taken by human beings, be that a little simple action as putting food into your mouth to eat, or a more complex, abstract action as to trying to start a business or make plans for the future, is always motivated by either love or fear, and oftentimes a combination of the two. So let's talk about these two words. Love is the wish to attain something good, something that feels comfortable and nice. So it is doing something because you really want a good result from that action, right? Fear, on the other hand, is trying to avoid something, trying to avoid an outcome that is not nice, that would feel terrible and discomfort, right? So there is avoiding and there's attaining, right? Love and fear, respectively. And which one you choose to motivate yourself with is quite important. So let me give you some attributes on these two words. Love, on the one hand, is way stronger than fear when trying to motivate. If you're motivated towards action because you want to attain something really nice, something that can bring you joy and happiness, well, you're going to have a lot of motivation to do that, right? You'll be ready to wake up early in the morning and get going. Whereas if you're motivated by fear, I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm afraid that if I don't do it, bad things will happen. Well, that motivation is not going to be as strong, and you're going to find it hard to keep that motivation going when it gets difficult. Another attribute of love and fear is that when you're motivated by love, and what you do is motivated by love, the wish to attain something good, then that is going to build you up and energize you and inspire you. And it's going to actually gain energy for you sometimes, right? You're going to feel more energized by doing this action than before you did it. Whereas something, on the other hand, that is motivated by fear can break you down, and it can take your energy and tire you out. So these are the attributes of love and fear, right? And by knowing this, we can take this simple action, which I want to introduce you to now, to find more motivation towards the things that we try to find motivation to do, and using willpower, right? So what you do is that you grab a pen and a paper, or you can do this mentally if you prefer, and you write down two lists. One is called fear and one is called love. And then you take whatever action you find it difficult to stay motivated towards, and you write it at the top of the list. And you simply fill out the list asking yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? What motivates me to keep going with whatever I'm doing? And we can take an example so you can follow along. I know a lot of you people go to school, in primary school or high school or university or whatever. So let's take that as an example, right? Why do I go to school? What motivates me to keep coming to school day after day, week after week? And let's start with the column of love, right? I do this, like I go to school because I want to attain some good things. I want to, well, get inspired, be around people that are really like-minded and nice. I want to feel mentally challenged. I want to learn, right? I want to maybe have some possibilities by taking this education, right? So we can keep on going. There's a lot of positive things that are like a wish to have joy and happiness that motivates me to keep going. But for a lot of you people that are going to school, there's also an element of fear, right? I go to school because I'm really afraid that if I don't, maybe I'll become a bit lonely. Where am I to find friends, right? Maybe I'll not feel so stimulated. Maybe I won't have an education, and then I won't get a career, and then I won't get a job, and then I won't get money, and then I won't get happiness, right? And that whole thing. So write the whole thing down. What motivates you from fear and what motivates you from love? And making this list actually has two sort of purposes, right? One is that the best way to change your motivation or to find motivation for whatever you're doing is not to, well, use willpower and force through when it gets difficult. It is to change your perspective. Just nuance it out, right? Instead of thinking about all the things you want to avoid by doing this, think about all the things you want to attain. So shifting your focus from fear to love, already by doing that, you will find great motivation and a lot of things become a lot easier. When you just take a moment to reflect and think about why you actually want to do this thing, because it can bring you joy and happiness instead of trying to avoid the bad things, right? And the second purpose of making this list is that when you keep making this list on different topics in your life, it could be going to school, going to work, trying to stick to a diet or stick to a fitness plan, right? Or whatever it might be. You will find that in some of these sort of sheets or papers, there are some topics that have a lot of words in the fear column and hardly any, if any, in the love column. And when getting confronted with this, or in other words, when getting confronted with the fact that what you're doing is actually mostly motivated by fear, I think it is an invitation to reflect on whether or not you should continue doing this action. So I think this is such a difficult topic to advise on because, of course, it's so different what all of you are struggling to find motivation to go through with. But I think in general, a general advice could be that you have to ask yourself, do I want to live a life that is motivated by fear? Or do I want to live a life that is motivated by love? And if it is, I want to live a life that is motivated by love, then I think you should maybe think about changing whatever you're doing if you can't find the motivation for it. And this doesn't mean that we should give up easily if something becomes difficult, because a lot of the things that are difficult can be quite good for you. But if you find that you're only doing what you're doing because you're afraid that if you don't do it, bad things will happen, well, take some time to reflect on that, I think. So whatever you're trying to stay motivated for, I wish you all the best of luck in that process, and I hope this made some sense for you. Thank you.